Right, viewers, welcome to this special broadcast of Mirror at 7. We'll start with our top story that we are tracking this hour. Is Karnataka and particularly Bengaluru quickly going from being the IT capital to the apathy capital? And why do I say that? Because on some days the roads cave in Bengaluru, on some other days pedestrians get electrocuted on a footpath, and we've also heard a story about a woman drowning in an underpass in Bengaluru. But this apathy not just is limited to Bengaluru, it extends way beyond the capital city. In fact, just today, three fans of actor Yash were electrocuted in Gadag while putting up a banner. In fact, three other people also suffered critical injuries due to electrocution. And all these people were attempting to erect a banner on the occasion of actor Yash's 38th birthday. Okay, on one hand, some people might say that how can anyone be this careless to tie a banner to an electric pole? The flip side of this is how are common people exposed to such high tension wires and poles? Why aren't these equipments made inaccessible? Why is it that time and again we've got so many such incidents coming to light? This is our top focus this hour, and joining me on the broadcast to discuss more on this is Mr. GS Prashanth from the BJP. Shyam Prasad Meka, who's a political analyst, Sandeep Aniruddhan, who's founder of Citizens Agenda, and Priya Rajgopalan, who's the founder of Heritage Beko. Welcome to everyone. This is a very serious discussion and something that has plagued the city of Bengaluru and way beyond Bengaluru for a long term now. Before I come to you, before we start this discussion, viewers, let me also tell you why this is important and why we are discussing this hour. In fact, this particular rot runs deep, and I'll take you through some of the data that, at the very least, will shock you. According to the latest National Crime Records Bureau data, Bengaluru recorded the most deaths due to negligence of civic bodies in 2022 with 21 deaths. Now, interestingly, this is more than half of the total such cases recorded all over India. So you combine all the cities in India on one hand, Bengaluru still has over 50% of the cases. In fact, Bengaluru has been the top of this list for the 3 years now. And this is a trend that continues. In fact, while only 3 such incidents were reported in 2018, the number swiftly rose to 49 in the year 2019. So this is a trend that continues to grow, and this is becoming more and more worrisome. So while people are out on the streets rampaging public property, the question that we need to ask is why isn't the same anger shown towards broken footpaths, pothole-ridden roads, waterlogged underpasses, or loosely hanging cables? This is a major talking point, and again, I'll welcome my guests again from the BJP, GS Prashanth, Shyam Prasad Meka, who's the political analyst, Sandeep Aniruddhan, and Priya Rajgopalan. I'll start with Sandeep Aniruddhan. Sandeep, time and again, we've been talking about Bengaluru. It is the IT capital, it's the Silicon City. Everything is in Bengaluru, but also we are also talking about the civic apathy, and the governments change, the promises change, the guarantees change, but what doesn't change is the poor infrastructure of Bengaluru.
See, the problem is Bengaluru has a tag of IT capital, but unfortunately, the administration and planning are very primitive. We live in the Stone Age when it comes to those things. And the biggest problem is that when it comes to administration, there is zero accountability for officials. Whether an official does his or her job or not, there is absolutely no fear for any kind of punishment. Or you look at just about any case where if there's corruption, if there's ineptitude, if there is dereliction of duty, I have rarely seen any official getting punished or affected in any way. And typically officials are also stretched between against their actual job. They're given other kinds of jobs by the government. Most often they'll be dragged away for election duty, and then the civic administration will be suffering. Similarly, they'll be dragged away for some political functions and things like that. So their primary duty seems to be the least of their concerns, and it is also uh, supported by the culture of the government at the state. And this has been going on for a very long time. Laws are rarely applied, laws are ignored, laws are violated very blatantly. There is zero enforcement. Literally every civic apathy issue you spoke about, be it building bylaw violations, illegal layouts being constructed, illegal borers being drilled every day, road maintenance being ignored, potholes in every nook and corner. There is just about nobody held accountable for it. This is the primary malaise. I think if this
Right,
government
right.
needs to fix this, it needs to bring about laws to punish officials and be held accountable. This will change everything. Right now, there's literally no way an official escapes. I mean, gets punished for anything that goes wrong. And I think that's primarily why there's just about
Right, right.
no
Sandeep, you're talking
responsibility.
about accountability. This is exactly where the buck stops. Accountability has been a major concern. This is again shifting from one government to the other. We, of course, have our phone lines open as well. We'll be taking in callers who will be sharing their experiences with us. But let me take this point across to Mr. Sham Prasad Meka. Mr. Sham, this is one of the issues that was a major poll issue as far as the Congress is concerned. Last elections, we saw urban governance was a major factor in how Bengaluru voted, but looks like nothing has changed. The cases continue to come in, people continue to get electrocuted. There continues to be a lot of complaint about the roads being bad. DK Shivkumar, the Deputy Chief Minister himself, has taken responsibility of Bengaluru, but we do not see any change at this point.
Even, I don't think we should politicize it at this moment. I'm not doing a typical political.
No, I'm not
talk of,
politicizing it,
okay,
Mr.
now
Sham.
somebody,
I'm just asking about the accountability. I'm just asking
one
about the
second,
accountability.
I'm coming. See, accountability should be fixed. And we are not used to that culture. Suddenly you can't do that. See, let's accept facts. Accountability should be fixed. If it is a loosely hanging wire, concerned official for that area, their heads should roll. Very clear. If it is not a loosely hanging wire, if somebody is actually tampering with the wire, trying to do some stupid thing as wishing some actor a happy birthday, or some sort of a Chutbaya leader a happy birthday, erecting those flexies, I think we need to educate our people not to do such things. This is very important. I hate to say this culture has been encouraged by the political parties as well, because they do all the time these flexes everywhere. Similarly, the fan clubs are doing these stupid things. This is such a bad thing. Do the youngsters have no other work to do than to go and erect flexes for somebody else's birthday? Okay, good. You are
Mr. Sham Prasad Meka, you're pointing out at the responsibility. Yes, there has to be responsibility on the citizens' front as well. You are making a very important point that it's not just the government that needs to fix things. It is the people also that need to understand that there is some sort of a safety precautions that we need to take care of. Now, Mr. Sham Prasad Meka, I'll take this next question to Priya Rajgopalan. Priyaji, this is again something that Sham Prasad Meka is pointing out. Okay, we are talking about this one incident. Let's talk about the incident that occurred just a while back. In fact, the previous incident. A mother and her 9-month-old child, they were walking on a footpath. They did not erect a banner. They did not touch an electric pole. They were not celebrating any actor's birthday. They were just walking on the street, and yet they were electrocuted. So it is not just about the people. It's also about the government that needs to ensure that responsibility has been taken. We are talking about apathy on the civic body front. But what exactly is the government doing? The government has to ensure from the top up that such responsibility is fixed.
Absolutely. So, apart from victim shaming, which could be anybody, a 30-year-old mother or a set of fans, the fact remains that as citizens, I think we're justified in asking for a reasonable amount of safety in our daily lives, which doesn't seem to be very important right now. And it really hurts to know that such a casual thing could happen and somebody could lose their life. A mother and a child, fans, or whatever it is. Let's come back to the fact there are few issues that we really need to know. It's one of the most horrific things to think of dying by electrocution. And just in a minute, you're here today, gone tomorrow, gone in a minute, literally. And the tragedy of it, the avoidable, and I'd like to stress this, the avoidable tragedy of this. Let me stress the fact that organizations like BESCOM, are corporations. They are not purely public sector. So they have a profit and loss. And Bestcom is a profitable entity. So there's a double responsibility to consumers to make sure that the facility is not only provided at reasonable cost, but also utterly safe. That's a basic provision. The second thing is, even if you look at the second element of prevention, we can talk about punishment, and I completely agree with Sandeep that unless there's accountability and penalty, there is very little that will be done except for lip service. But going a little bit beyond that, and I've always stressed this, what is the case for prevention? All over the world, you will never see electrocution data like this. Now, this is, the question of relay and protection is a common basic thing in any electrical systems. And if you look at some of the data which is coming from the KERC, which is the Karnataka Electricity Regulation Commission, 95% of the electrical accidents are associated with the 11 kV and 400 volt distribution systems close to residential and commercial buildings. Now, if you don't attend to defects there, the idea is if there's a problem, the system trips. And then they will just say, oh, it didn't trip because of some technical defect. What is the technical glitch? Because this technical glitch that you so glibly pass over has lost a life. So this is something that we have to go beyond the perfunctory. We are so good in India at passing it on to karma or whatever else that just is beyond us, and it is true to a point. But this preventability, this preemption, is something I just don't understand. It's happened numbers of times. You have 34 deaths per day, apparently, according to the data that's been released. The Delhi government is also trying to do all it can to make sure that these are prevented, especially during flood seasons, etc. But I'm drawing you back to the fact that it's a corporation.
Right, very interesting points, Priya, that you're making there. You're talking about the data that's coming from the Karnataka Electricity Regulatory Commission as well. Even I was looking at that data, and it's again something that you can look at very closely and understand which are the systems that are not working, which are your units that are contributing to electrocution, and again, a lot of solutions could be worked out. GS Prashanth from the BJP is listening to us. GS Prashanth is listening to us carefully. Let's also get in his word. Mr. GS Prashanth, your party was voted out of power, and one of the reasons for that was the lack of urban governance. A lot was said, 40% Sarkar, 40% commission, and all those things. Have you seen anything change in this government? Because from the data that we're getting, looks like nothing has changed.
Ashish, first thing is the result. What happened? Why BJP lost? We have lost. The fact remains we have lost. We are in opposition now. But once Congress has come to power with an overwhelming majority of 136 seats, what have they done? Zero accountability. I say with full responsibility as BJP, we don't want to politicize a death of a citizen. But look at what Congress is doing. There is zero accountability because a Congress leader appears on this panel as a political analyst, which means as Congress, they don't even take responsibility for their words which is being spoken on live television, which means they want to shy away from all responsibilities and masquerade as political analysts who in fact are Congress leaders. Therefore, this is the intention of Congress. They will never stand up for people and civic apathy when it's claimed lives of innocent citizens. And to victim shaming is something we should not do. Why somebody wanted to erect flex or something? Yes, maybe it was not in the right spirit. They should not have erected. Be that as it may. Are you saying that you do that and you get in touch with the live wire? Can the government say that we will let the live wires on the road and you be careful in walking? That can't be done. They have to improve the situation. They have to sort out their internal tussles first and look up to governance. They have been given that mandate of 136 seats, not to squander for power among themselves, but to give good governance. And they have failed in all counts. DK Shivkumar is on record to say there is no money for development this year and not a single kilometer of road will be laid. So therefore, where does that accountability come from? You take Bescom or any other Escoms, they are suffering under losses. What has the government done to find out where the losses are, whether the losses are at the initial stage, at the stage of generation or distribution? What is happening? No issues on that. They are only wanting to have how many deputy CMs to have, from which caste and whom to be made. Which is what, if the Congress government is indulging in only these things, citizens will suffer, and they're suffering. It's a very sad thing that people are losing lives when government has to step up and say
Right.
we
So,
will
Mr.
stand by
G.S.
them.
Prashant, the point that you're
And
making here is that there has been no accountability and there has been no change in the new regime. Shyam Prasad Meka, how do you respond to that? Because this is clearly a direct, you were talking about not politicizing this. Mr. G.S. Prashant is also saying that we do not want to politicize this, but the fact of the matter is that things have only gone for the worst. Ever since the new government has come in, there's absolutely no accountability. How do you respond to that?
Yes, see, I agree. I agree with GS Prashant on two counts. One, accountability should be fixed. Okay. And second, yes, I am a Congress leader. I am not masquerading myself as a political analyst. Ashish, you need to answer for that. If your production team puts a different title, that's not my problem. I'm not masquerading. Okay.
Right, we'll get that sorted. We'll get that sorted. Let's talk about the
Yeah.
citizens here. We are talking about the deaths due to civic apathy and very serious questions being raised by the BJP panelists here. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, see, these are the serious questions at the entire system. So our friend, one of the panelists, has actually given a good suggestion earlier. So, where is the mechanism to automatically trip when in case of this accidental
Mr. Shyam Prasad Meka, I'll have to cut you short.
connection?
Just hold
Right?
on to your point. Just hold on to your point, Mr. Shyam Prasad Meka. We've also got callers here. We are also listening to the citizens' voices. In fact, Murli is calling us from Hubballi. Murli, tell us about your experience. You are, of course, a resident of Karnataka. It's not just in Bengaluru, in Hubballi as well. A lot of civic apathy cases have come to light. Tell us about your experience and also if there's something that you have to suggest to the government.
Yes. Good evening and happy new year to everybody and all the panelists. My only suggestions to all is that don't talk about other party, you are BJP, I am Congress, you are JDS and all that. Because, you see, at the end of the day, you are also one of the citizens of India. You should think in that line and see that. And
Correct.
if any wrong has happened,
Correct.
try to accept it. You see, you should have a broad mind. Yes, we have made a mistake here, we will rectify it. Next, you rectify it and show it. Unless and until you do all these norms and all, only you fight within BJP, Congress and all that, it has no meaning. People are not interested in who has come to BJP power or Congress in the power. They want the things to happen. All civic amenities which are to be delivered by the government, because it is a taxpayers' money, they should be given. They are not giving that, and nobody takes the responsibility. That is the amazing fact of the politicians. They don't take the responsibility. They blame it on another party. They blame it on government. They blame it on administration. At the end of the day, Congress party doesn't have
Okay.
money in Karnataka. They have given all freebies. There is no money
All right.
in Karnataka.
All right, Mr. Murli, you're making a very clear point there. Please stop politicizing this issue. This is not about politics. No matter who comes to power, at the end of the day, it's the people of Karnataka, it's the people of Bengaluru that need to be kept safe. In fact, we've got one more caller coming in, Mr. Kochu Shankar from Bengaluru. Mr. Kochu Shankar, Bengaluru, once known as the Silicon Hub, the dream, the aspiration of everyone across India to be in Bengaluru. But what we're seeing right now is absolute chaos when it comes to civic apathy. Tell us about your experience in Bengaluru and have you encountered anything like this?
Yes. See, the major problem in Bangalore is that our civic agencies won't comply with directive from the High Court or Supreme Court or anything. The first example is that we are supposed to hold civic elections for the last 2 years. High Court has given verdict, Supreme Court has given deadlines. Something or the other reason, they have been keeping on postponing it. For the last 2.5 years, we don't have a corporator who represents the local area. And it's not only that, there are so many other directives which are given by the judges in the Supreme Court. They don't comply with it. And there are multiple reasons why they don't comply with it. But the intention to comply is definitely not there. It doesn't matter which party is ruling. Both parties who ruled us for the last 10 years have been doing the same thing. So there's not much of difference in their approach, except that one party works for the benefit of somebody else and something else. That's it. So the basic thing is compliance. Now it percolates down. The BBMP commissioner issues a directive and an order saying that do this to his employee, to his officers. They don't get complied. And it goes on down the line. the contractor don't listen to the engineer. So everywhere there is compromise. And citizens go and meet the senior officials, commissioner, and all those things. They commit something which they don't follow. So we need a total re-engineering. Like that accountability has to be set in a very, very serious manner. And we have fantastic IAS officers. There are about 20, 25 IAS officers of great caliber and abilities. But somehow they get silenced by the political leadership. That's the problem. I don't mean to talk about any particular party. Both the parties are same.
Correct. Yeah. Right, Mr. Kochu Shankar, appreciate you for calling us and putting out your point of view. And very, very important point raised there by Mr. Kochu Shankar. I'll take this point across to Sandeep Anirudhan. Sandeep, one of our callers here was talking about BBMP elections. And this is again a very, very important point that has plagued the city of Bengaluru. If my memory serves me right, it's been almost 3 years now since the BBMP council term ended and there have been no BBMP elections. And we do not even know when the next election is coming. So city like Bengaluru, which is said to be an international standard city, we don't even have elections for the municipal body. How does it work?
Ashish, it's almost 4 years now since we've had a local government. And
Right, 4 years.
It's not just about elections. What Kochu Sarkar brought up is a very important point. In fact, our freedom fighters actually fought for Swaraj. They did not fight for independence. The Hind Swaraj written by Gandhiji very clearly spoke about Swaraj. He said, I don't care if the British stay on, if they give us Swaraj. But we have forgotten his message. The 74th Amendment was passed in 1992 to correct the mistake made by Nehru initially, where he centralized government too much. We had a very strong central government and strong state government. But the third tier, fourth tier of governance was actually discarded by our free India. It was an acute mistake because Nehru himself had risen from the ranks of being in Allahabad municipality as its mayor. Similarly, Vallabhbhai Patel was also a mayor of
Sandeep, just hold on to your point there. We've got one more caller coming in. Sandeep, a very important point that you're also making there, talking about the BBMP council elections and all of that. We've got one more caller, Samir, coming in from Bengaluru. Samir, tell us about your experience in Bengaluru. How long have you been in Bengaluru, and also what are the kind of situations that you've encountered?
Yeah, so I've been in Bangalore all my life. I'm a 21-year-old student from Bangalore. And as of now, there are lots of problems plaguing our city. Now, the important thing to remember is that when an electric pole falls on you or when a current shock runs through you, it doesn't matter which party you belong to or which, particular family or which religion you belong to. At the end of the day, this is an issue that transcends the boundaries of religion. It transcends the boundaries of politics. So the most important thing that we should be doing is giving accountability for taxpayer money. As a young citizen of my city, it's very important to know that the money I pay in taxes is going to the right things. Now, when I'm paying taxes, that also means that I'm safe in my own city from civic apathy. And it's becoming a problem because there are multiple issues plaguing Bangalore right now. One is, of course, the case of civic apathy, and one more is the rise of Gundagardi, and one more is the rise of all these local goons who end up breaking billboards and signboards across Bangalore. So there are multiple issues, and I would really want the government to be held accountable for such things.
Right, Samir, you said you've been in Bengaluru all your life. Have you seen any change that has happened over the past few months? Because urban governance was one of the key issues that was discussed in the last elections. It was said that Bengaluru will be made much, much better. Have you seen any change on the ground?
See, considering my own very limited perspective of the area that I come from, I feel that there has been absolutely no change. Because at the end of the day, the common man's problems will never and ever be addressed by those sitting at top. So regardless of political parties, I'm not meaning to point fingers at any political party right here, but regardless of political party lines, the road in front of my house has not been improved. I am sure that the drainage system will not be improved. I am sure that there are a lot of things which I am paying my hard-earned money for to the government through taxes is not being utilized.
Right, Samir, appreciate you joining us on the broadcast there. This is Sabir, a resident of Bengaluru, clearly venting out his frustration about the whole issue and asking people to not politicize it. Let's talk about the civic issues at hand. In fact, Shyam Prasad Meka continues to be on the broadcast with us. Mr. Shyam Prasad Meka, I believe you heard what one of our callers here, Samir, had to say. He said, ever since the new government has come in, he's not seen any change, any accountability. Here, we're not trying to politicize this matter. We're just talking about the accountability because one of the biggest poll promises was to ensure that urban governance is taken care of, but no change has happened. Why is it so?
Yeah, he is correct. And I think making the governance, urban governance changes visible is not a small task. And I think it's going to take time. The information I have is the Congress government in Bengaluru currently is really focusing on urban governance. I think we should give them time to get that out. That doesn't mean they were excellent in the past, right? These problems are accumulated over many Congress and BJP governments. So I'm not claiming innocence on that. But definitely this time, the urban governance and the infrastructure in Bengaluru is being focused. I think it will take time to make a visible change.
Okay, Mr. Shyam Prasad Meka, we'll give you the benefit of doubt there that it will take time to see the changes, but at least I think the focus should be on trying to make sure that there are no deaths on the roads that happen. Priya Rajgopalan, do you want to come in here? Point us at some of the key issues that are plaguing Bengaluru at this point? Because not just Bengaluru, in fact, we're talking about all over Karnataka. What are the key issues? What are the key challenges that are plaguing as far as the civic infrastructure is concerned?
It comes back to the issue of governance. I think bottom line, that's really where it is, because I have no voice right now. If something happens in my neighborhood, I had a voice in the ward committee. I could coordinate, I could escalate. I knew the person's concern, whether it's a BESCOM person or a BBMP person or a forest officer, we were able to coordinate, make an impact. It's not happening. But I want to come back to just two very simple things. There is no rocket science about running something which is so critical, dangerous, and potentially life-threatening as electricity. So let's take away the issues of pilferage and people misusing things, whatever. The issue of safety and distribution is critical to us. So while we can go round and round in circles, this subject has been written about. The standards, the SOPs, the safety measures are there enshrined in manuals that are available. So if you tell me to, it comes down to two things. How can we prevent and how can we address if something goes wrong? I would like very much for us to do the prevention. And what is worrying me is every government and every new statehood that comes in talks about this as if it's a new thing. How is it possible that electrocution deaths can continue in a city like Bangalore? And we are now wondering, how is it that we figure out that wire has broken and it's tripped and we need to be able to figure out where it is? It's standard anybody who's done electrical engineering would know where and how this has to be addressed. And at that point is where you cut off the power. Somebody dies, a child dies, a mother dies, a fan dies, doesn't matter. It could be you or me. So stop it. Please, let's get real. This issue of walking around that we must do something, karna hai, banana hai, please, let's get over that. Where are the SOPs? Where is the checklist?
All right.
What can I do as a citizen?
Let's focus on improving the civic infrastructure. That's the message that Priya Rajgopalan is giving out. Closing remarks there by Sandeep Aniruddhan and GS Prashanth. Mr. GS Prashanth, closing remarks from your end?
Firstly, yes, we should not politicize. I do agree with all the co-panelists on that. But be that as it may, instead of taking time saying we require so many more years to do it, Congress must now come out with an agenda, now that they're in power, as to what will be done with regular timelines and with timely meetings with all the citizens concerned. Take the opposition also into confidence and come out with a roadmap and not have crazy ideas about having some tunnels and roads. No, first fix what is already gone wrong, then dream about bigger things, which is not happening. They're wanting to build some castles in the air. My only suggestion to Congress is that don't build castles in there. Focus on the ground, come out with a blueprint, discuss with the opposition, and ensure that Bangalore is a safe city as it was in the past. That's all.
All right. So that, GS Prashanth, that is your suggestion to the Congress government there. We'll only hope. Right. We'll only hope that the suggestion is taken into account and even the opposition is consulted. We've got last 40 seconds on the broadcast. Sandeep Aniruddhan, your closing remarks?
Yeah. Ashish, it's very simple. Right now, there's a culture of lawlessness. People just about violate every law. So generally, nobody ever thinks, is it something they can do or they cannot do, because there is no repercussion for any action. Here you can just about violate everything. So we have to bring in a culture of lawfulness. Officials have to act when there are violations. They have to punish citizens. Citizens have to abide by laws. And the state should also abide by laws. State is violating the 74th Amendment of the Constitution. So they should bring about a planning authority for the city, devolve, decentralize, build the third, fourth tier of governance, which is promised in the Constitution. The state has been in violation for 30 years. So we have to build grassroots democracy, which is a promise of our freedom fighters, So all of these point to us moving in a very wrong direction. We have to course correct. We have to move towards lawfulness, which is what qualifies any civilization, any population as being civilized. We are literally moving towards an uncivilized kind of living. This has to change in every aspect of our governance and the way we all live. Otherwise, Bengaluru has no hope. It's just going to crumble and crash, and probably there'll be, it will not be worth living in the city anymore.
All right, Sandeep, that's the closing remark that's coming in from you. I appreciate all our panelists here for joining us. This is, of course, a very important discussion because it's not just about Karnataka and Bengaluru, it's also about India, because Bengaluru is one of those cities that is the representative of India, and everyone who lands in Bengaluru in a way gets an idea or also creates a lot of an impression about India as well. So it's again our responsibility to ensure that the city is kept safe and sound, civic apathy is avoided, and also most importantly, lives are saved and people are not lost, lives are not lost to basic issues like bad roads or dangling wires that could easily be fixed. Appreciate you joining us on the broadcast, and we'll of course keep a very close eye on all the developments that come in and the action that the Congress government also takes in connection to these cases. Moving